The scariest feeling when you're in love is the fear of losing the person you care about the most. That overwhelming dread can sneak into the happiest moments, quietly reminding you that nothing is guaranteed. Even when things are going well, the thought that they might leave, fall out of love, or disappear without warning can be paralyzing. It's terrifying to feel vulnerable. Love cracks you open. Suddenly, someone else holds the power to hurt you deeply. You've built walls for years to protect your heart, and now you've willingly let someone in. The fear that they might not handle that responsibility with care is haunting. One of the most unsettling feelings is the fear that your love isn't enough. You give everything you have, your time, your loyalty, your affection, but what if they're still not satisfied? The thought that no matter how much you love someone, it might not be returned the same way is painful and frightening. Doubt can be just as scary. You start questioning if they feel the same intensity as you do. You wonder if they're just being polite, or if they're in it only halfway. That uncertainty can eat away at your peace, turning love into a battlefield inside your mind. The fear of change is also deeply unsettling. What if one day they wake up and feel differently? People change, and sometimes feelings do too. That unpredictability, the idea that something so beautiful could shift overnight is enough to keep you awake at night. Jealousy, when you're in love, takes on a whole new meaning. You fear that someone else might capture their attention. Even if they've given you no reason to doubt them, the thought that someone else could steal their heart is chilling. It's a feeling of helplessness that's hard to shake. Another scary emotion is the fear of being too much or not enough. You start analyzing every text, every word you say, worried that you might push them away by just being yourself. That kind of self-suppression slowly wears you down. Overthinking becomes a daily habit. You overanalyze their tone, their responses, and their behavior. Did they mean what they said? Why did they take so long to reply? Was that a sign of pulling away? These thoughts can spiral, creating imaginary problems that feel very real. Trust becomes both a necessity and a gamble. You want to believe in them, to believe in the relationship, but you've been hurt before. Now, loving someone feels like holding your breath, waiting to see if this time will be different, or if history will repeat itself. There's also the fear of being abandoned during your lowest moments. Will they stay if you get depressed? Will they still love you if you're not always cheerful and put together? That fear of being too broken to be loved can be devastating. When you're deeply in love, the thought of them getting hurt becomes one of your greatest fears. You worry about their health, their safety, their well-being. It's scary to care that much, because their pain becomes your pain too. There's a silent terror in long-distance relationships, or even just time apart. Not seeing them, not being near them, makes the mind wander. You start fearing emotional drift or the possibility that someone else might fill the void while you're not around. One of the scariest things is realizing how much of your happiness depends on them. That emotional reliance makes you feel both euphoric and exposed. If they leave, it feels like your world could crumble. The fear of misunderstanding is real too. That a miscommunication could create distance. That one wrong word could cause a crack. Love should be strong, but sometimes it feels like one argument away from falling apart. Another terrifying moment is when you realize you could hurt them. You love them deeply. And yet, the awareness that you might say or do something that causes them pain is a heavy burden. You start fearing time. What if your paths diverge eventually? What if they want different things? Love can't always overcome differences in goals, dreams, or timing, and that realization can break your heart before it even happens. You also fear that they might fall in love with someone else, not because they're unfaithful, but because life brings people together and pulls them apart in ways no one can predict. That uncertainty is one of love's cruelest aspects. Sometimes, the scariest feeling is how much they know about you. They've seen the parts of you no one else has. If things end badly, the thought of them walking away with your deepest secrets is chilling. You fear your love will be unappreciated, that everything you give will go unnoticed, taken for granted, or dismissed. That quiet fear can make you feel invisible, even when you're right beside them. And perhaps the most terrifying feeling of all is how deeply love changes you. It reshapes your priorities, your emotions, your sense of self. You start living not just for yourself, but for another person, and the weight of that responsibility can be both beautiful and frightening all at once.